Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
I guess I'm running this operation. The mayor is busy signing over here. Glen Perkins is with us.
Hello.
Glenn, you'll be out here with the family before it's over, but today you're on a beer trip, right?
I came to try my beer and
Yes.
to see you.
Okay, well, that's terrific.
Now, Perk, here's the deal. I've done the beer show out here for 5 years now. You can't just bring one for yourself. What the hell's the matter with you?
You know how hard it is to get to carry one beer from the ballpark cafe.
Are you
to
now
here
in the beer
and not
business?
spill? No,
No.
I'm not. I guest brew. I
Yeah.
kind of just moonlight at different places.
All right.
So now this one's Surly's making it and selling it at Ballpark
Yes.
Cafe.
Yes.
And what are we calling this
This
one?
is the closer with a K.
The closer with a K.
Yup.
And
So
it's
this beer right here is one you've
This
created.
is it. Yeah, this is my beer.
All right.
I made it at my house a couple times, and then they were nice enough to let me try to make it there.
All right.
but the first you had an earlier one for
Yeah,
them.
that was for opening day.
That was what we call
We
that
called
one.
that one Cut Down.
Okay.
Kind of a nod to my song that they played, the Johnny Cash. And so that was at the field for it didn't last very long there.
So what motivated you with all the things you had in your life when you started messing around with trying to make your own beer? What got you intrigued? Listening to Reavers on the beer show or
Thirst.
I'd like to give him credit for that. No, I think really what it is, I've always tried to find hobbies that I can do in the off season.
what? Okay.
And so I got into smoking meat, and it just kind of grew into growing beer to making beer as well. Just something to do in my downtime. Especially once the kids started going to school and that I had a bunch of free time and I needed to find stuff. And I always liked beer, and so it kind of just it's a fun chemistry experiment.
There's a whole sea change, and Pat will know this, and this is even before your time because you're too young. But I remember covering baseball games, and you do, Pat, and you'd go into a clubhouse after a game back in the 70s, and there were coolers full of beer.
Yeah.
I have to suspect that's not the way it is today. Or is it?
You can get your hands on beer.
Can you?
You can,
All right.
but you don't drink it out.
Yeah.
They don't drink it out in the open clubhouse.
I don't
now,
mean
in
that
the back.
people have become teetotalers. I'm just
No.
saying it was so out there.
Oh yeah.
It was just
Yeah. No, I think now it's just refrigerators in the back.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
The only time you'll see Oakland doesn't have refrigerators and they don't provide beer, so it'll be in the big Gatorade coolers.
And you'll
after a game.
remember that forever. Won't you?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, and that was actually out in so. We'd have to buy Bud Light or Coors Light or whatever.
Buy your own
And
beer.
Yep, and then we'd bring it. The team would buy it, or I guess we'd send them out or whatever, and they would bring it on the team bus, and then during the game they'd put it in ice. And
Well, it's good to know it's still an important part of the game.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
I
you
think
don't
baseball and beer always go together.
Well, the new ballparks too, Joe. You don't have the spread in the middle of the clubhouse
Right.
either, like there used to be.
Nothing for Gene Mauch to topple.
No,
Yeah.
no. But it's it also more hygiene to have it back there in a
Out of sight,
better
out of
area.
mind,
Yeah,
but it's
without a
definitely a
bunch
part
of
of it, yeah.
without a bunch of sports writers walking around the food.
Yeah,
and
you don't
stuff
want
like
that. Do you miss? Do you miss the game?
I don't.
Really?
I'm starting to miss the game.
Yeah.
And I've been around a little more. I've watched a little more, paid a little bit more attention. I don't miss playing at all.
Okay.
I don't miss the grind of every day going. I was over there today and I was watching guys come in, and every time I see them play or I today watching them guys walk in, I think I'm glad I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
It just time took its course. It was a long career, 15 years.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, good,
And,
good.
I know, and I'll eventually be around the game more and more as time goes on. That doesn't leave me. That the love for the game doesn't. But it's been a nice summer. I haven't had a summer since 2003.
That's a good point.
Minnesota summers are pretty dang great.
Right.
So it's been fun.
Right.
How much do you think the bad taste of being injured for 2 years has affected that not missing
I
it?
think what it did is it made it easier for me to transition out.
Okay.
When I had surgery, not traveling, going in and not really staying for many games, rehabbing during the afternoon and going home at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock, like you start to get transitioned into a post career, and so that it wasn't like I was playing every day and then all of a sudden I was done. I was rehabbing for stinking 2 years, and it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. There's no good part about that. I spent a summer in Florida last year, and if that doesn't make you want to be done, nothing.
You had a little trouble adjusting to 98 and humid there, did you?
Yeah, it was. I don't wish that on anybody. I don't know how they do it. I mean, obviously they're going to say, how do you survive a winter? But my gosh, it is just miserable.
Are you thoroughly healed now?
Sure. I haven't
For civilian purposes,
Oh
obviously.
yeah, I'm totally fine.
Yeah,
Totally fine there. That's no issue. I haven't touched a baseball since the end of last season.
Yeah.
So the idea of you pitching for the Faribault Lakers is probably pretty remote.
Zero. Absolutely zero.
No.
I gave up the ball.
No change. Okay, tell me now. What is your? What are you looking for in your beer? Is there a certain flavor you want? A bitter one? What do you want? What do you want?
It's definitely up there on the bitterness. But what I did is, and when I made the beer at my house is IPAs, hops. Bitter, piney, all these things, and everything's kind of started to transition. You see a lot more of like the Northeast IPA, which is a lot more of like a fruit forward, where they're using hops to get fruit flavors, melon and pineapple and mango and things like that, versus like a pine needle.
You disagree, don't you?
I don't.
And so
like fruit.
what I try to do is when somebody says what kind of beer is that, and I say, oh, it's an IPA, and they go, oh, I don't like IPAs. I want that person to try it and like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping, and I talked to Herbeck because I ran into him and he saw that I had brewed, and he said, what did you brew? And I said, oh, an IPA. And he goes, can't do IPAs. And I said, you need to go try it and let me know, because so many people have come up to me and said, that's not what I expected from an IPA.
A little more kick or what?
It's not the like overwhelming. It doesn't taste like a pine tree. Like I get a lot of that. Like I know you like a two-hearted.
Yep.
And those are so like, it's like resinous is the term. It's like a pine resin.
Well, what's the two-hearted that you do once a year?
Hop Slam.
Not anymore. It's too much. It's overpowering.
Yeah, I mean, well, and it's also 9.5%, 10%,
right.
Something along those lines.
That part didn't bother me. It was just too rich.
Well, and Perk, to kind of what you were saying earlier, the trends that I've noticed just doing this show is you're going to have breweries that are chasing whatever is popular at the time, but the ones that are successful long term, your Summits of the world, the Surleys of the world, they're staying consistent brewing their beer over and over, knowing that people are gradually going to come back to that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think even like a Furious is one of the hoppier, pinier IPAs there are.
Yep.
Are you an IPA guy?
I am, yeah. And I go in and out. It's like a week where I like them, and then I'll have a week where it's like I need like a Bud Light, like something that's just like...
Pat's sitting here wondering whatever happened to Schlitz.
Oh yeah. Well, I was going to ask you when you were 17 and 18-year-old kids sneaking a case of beer in Stillwater, what were you drinking then, Miller?
I will tell you the first beer I ever had. I hope there's no kids in the crowd. I was in 10th grade. And we had gotten a case of Red Dog.
Oh God!
I never even heard of it.
And, it's atrocious.
Well, because it was $6 a
not
case.
Not only is it bad, but we had gotten it and we're like scared to drink it, and so we put it at my buddy's house in his row of pine trees.
Yeah.
And it sat there all summer.
Oh no!
God!
And it was like the week before school was starting. We're like, we got to drink this beer, and so we put it in the fridge and drank it. And so it had sat out for like a Minnesota summer.
Oh no!
It was skunky.
Oh, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. So I don't know. I mean, it didn't break my love of my spirit or my love of beer,
But I'm always curious to find out, what was your favorite beer before you decided to start brewing? Was there a go-to? Because I know when you were on the road, you would always try to get stuff that was at places when you were on the road.
Yep, I love getting beer from cities that didn't distribute. So
sure.
Like you could get, whether it's Kansas City or Seattle, Denver. I always go back to Summit EPA. Is kind of my beer that I always return to. I think is pretty solid, and yeah, that's an easy one for me. I always know what it's gonna be like. That was the one that when I honed my brewing, I would make a clone of that, and it was easy to try mine and then try an actual Summit and try to get them as close together as possible.
Well, you've become a mad scientist.
I tell you what, it's an awesome chemistry experiment.
Yeah.
It's super fun, and the different things you can do, the colors, the amount of grains that you can make a beer from, like really, really light blonde to really dark, like a Guinness.
Yeah.
And everywhere in between, you can make them red, you can make them orange. You can, this is a little more orange than some. It's so neat. And then there is something really, really cool about when you brew your own beer and then you drink it and you get a little buzz.
Yep.
Yeah.
That you made that. That's really cool.
Do you ever? How many
cool.
times have you gone when you were making?
You know what?
When you get along down the road,
I've made some bad batches, but what ends up happening is I'll open the fermenter to move them like into a keg or whatever, and there'll be like chunks of crap floating in there, like a cheesy, like a Swiss cheesy, and you're like, I ain't doing that. So I've known enough not to drink one of the beers that's.
But what's funny is that I wonder if this is the same case with you. A lot of really great beers that were invented were completely done by accident, where there was the intention of maybe coming up with something else. Because when I've talked to brewers in the past, that's what they said is like, well, this beer turned out great, but it really wasn't the plan to begin with.
Yeah, I think I'm curious if so. Another new trend is these brute IPAs. So they're like really drying them out, and almost like a champagne-y IPA combination. And I have a feeling that might have been that they made a batch of beer and they thought it was going to ferment down to a certain level, and it just kept going and dried out more than they thought it was going to. And that's a trend that's really catching on now too.
We'll be back with Glen Perkins. We're at the State Fair. So, Perky, I stopped at the old Southern Barbecue in Edina, Dave Anderson's new place. Famous Dave's. He had a non-compete for a long time, and he started his own place. And damn, that was some good brisket.
I went.
Is
it in Hayward?
Yes, the original.
The original Famous Dave's.
Yeah,
he's got a barbecue joint there now too.
Yes,
right. So I was there on Caravan a couple years ago, and we ate lunch there.
He was just starting.
It's
right.
Unbelievable.
Oh, his brisket was. The ribs were okay, but the brisket was.
How did we get moved into food now?
Because he's a meat smoker.
Oh, that's right. You're smoking meat.
Now, you're not a rib guy though, right?
Okay. I like
they did a thing on the Fox Sports did a rib thing.
I like the ribs and the pulled pork.
Okay.
They're it's the easiest thing. Pork.
Yeah.
You can't screw a pork shoulder up. It's like 50%.
Getting those
fat.
ribs right though is not easy.
Ribs is tough. They're tough. We had a rib contest this summer, and I brought my smoker up to the cabin. It was all the people up at the cabin, and I got like fourth place, and I thought I should have ran away with it. So I don't know. Everyone else is using grills and little smokers, and I brought my big one up on a trailer and lost. So that was.
Where's the family? How far in Wisconsin?
About at St. Croix Falls.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
not bad.
Not too
Fairly
bad at all.
close. All right. So you were fanatic about fishing when you had the place in Fort Myers, and you were down there early in the before the start of spring training. But you sold the boat.
I did. Yeah.
I
had to clean my hands of that place. I think I spent a lot of time down there, and then I think last summer just did it for me, where I couldn't fathom. My plan all along was to keep that boat and be able to go down there and use it.
Yes.
And I just after last summer, I can't think about even going down there right now.
Especially right now, they got the bad red tide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need
wouldn't
a
even
good
be out
hurricane.
you wouldn't even be out on the water.
No,
Yeah.
it's I've heard that it's pretty bad down there. So
Well, Pat's rooting for a hurricane
To blow the fish
to
out.
blow the
of it.
fish out.
are you still trying to claim insurance on your condo?
Yeah,
Is that what the deal
no.
is?
I'm good. I'm good, but I might be calling
You get
your.
a dolphin go
I
through
might,
the screen porch.
I might be calling your guy to get rid of it if we don't get if you can't go to the beach in January, for goodness sakes. I don't know. It hasn't been good down there. But so where are you going to fish then? You can't.
I've got a boat up at the cabin.
Okay.
And I went from last summer fishing for tarpon and catching like 80 to 100 pound tarpon to I caught hundreds of crappies this summer, and I just sit out on the front of the boat and pick them off. It's definitely a departure from what I was doing down there, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been, like I said, just to have a summer and be able to do some things that I haven't been able to do in a long time.
Your all-time favorite teammate, you told me a couple of years ago, is having a pretty good summer, Eddie Rosario.
Yeah. I tell you what, I think everybody that played, I mean, he was decent as a prospect. He was
Yes.
somewhere on those prospect lists, but he was never super high. When you saw him hit and the way he could cover the plate and the hands, you just knew he had some numbers in the minor leagues with strikeouts and no walks and and those things that is partially a product of just guys not being around the plate. And when guys in the big leagues are more around the plate, I think everybody thought when they saw him coming up that the more guys are around the plate, the more of a chance he's going to have. And he's in that kind of that Vlad Guerrero mold of just being able to hit anything. I think he leads baseball in homers out of the strike zone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, but good for him because he's a great kid, hard worker, and awesome. I mean, that's the kind of teammates that you want, and he's a big part of what they're doing.
Do you have a position on whether baseball needs to reduce the length of games?
They do, but I mean,
Well, let's start with that. Why do they? Are they losing a certain generation?
Well, I would assume. I mean, it's boring. Like, that's a long time. Like, over 3 hours for something is a long time. There's a lot of standing around. The one thing that MLB is never going to talk about, and the reason that the games take longer, is the commercials.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. You got 2.5 minutes in between every half inning, and that's.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do some quick math, but that's the biggest. I mean, that's 45 minutes of commercial time. And that did. I mean, I didn't watch baseball back in the 70s or whatever, but I can imagine that the commercial breaks weren't that long. That between innings was a lot shorter, and that's where it starts. Then it's the everybody's trying to walk and everybody's striking out, so plate appearances are longer. All those things.
Minnesota United are in Kansas City to take on Sporting KC this Saturday night. Tune in at 7 p.m. for the pre-match show with Brian Pyatt, followed by kickoff at 7:30 p.m. with Dan Terhar. Catch all the action right here on 1500 ESPN. And the great Minnesota get-together is finally here. While you're making your State Fair plans, be sure to add 1500 ESPN to your list. Swing by our booth on the corner of Dan Patch and Chambers to watch your favorite shows broadcast live from the front porch and check out the new merchandise in the Pro Shop. More details at 1500ESPN.com.
Jonathan, we thought you were going to hit the post on that. You did all right, though. Thanks for all your hard work today, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Sports Talk is live here at the Minnesota State Fair, and if I could get all four of these guys to pay attention and put their headsets on, we would have ourselves a segment here. Fellas, we're on the air. Here we go. Are we on now? Here we go.
Hello.
Oh, my God.
We're okay.
Yeah, we've been
Yes,
on for
we're
about 2 minutes,
yeah,
Joe.
we've been on.
We've been on for
Have we
about 2
really?
minutes. Yes.
They're
yes, we have.
sending flares out from the station, seeing if we're still here.
Here's John Haidt in the Sports Talk newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. It's partly cloudy, we'll call it, huh? 79 degrees. Twins and A's tonight from Target Field. Cole Stewart pitches again for the Twins, and Trevor Cahill will pitch for the A's. News notes from today. Update on that plane crash. One person injured in a plane crash at Anoka County Blaine Airport. That, of course, according to Blaine Police Chief Brian Podani. Podani said the crash happened just after 11 o'clock on the north end of the airport's runway. One person in the plane who did suffer serious injuries, not identified, but Podani said it was a 65-year-old man from Ham Lake. National Transportation Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administration will.
Were they landing or taking off, John, or don't we know?
We don't have any other details. I do
Well, they
know
were at the end of the runway, right?
Yes. It did cause a good 5-mile backup on Highway 10. That's
All Gawker
Why?
related.
Why?
Well, there
When I
was
was
a
coming in.
fire there.
there was the plane burst into
No, there was a
flames.
big. It was
It
dramatic.
wasn't the Highway Patrol wasn't measuring, were they?
No.
Okay.
St. Paul.
Got to measure.
St. Paul man faces charges after authorities said he stole a vehicle that had a 3-year-old inside, according to court records. 28.
I always love those stories. As long as the kid comes out okay.
The kid's okay.
I'll tell you a
The
story.
kid won't know. I love those stories.
The kid's now dead. We lost him, but
Okay.
I did a column. The kid was called Blind Danny.
Uh-huh.
Well, no,
Oh, my.
his dad parked the car at the drugstore. Danny was blind.
Yeah, we gathered that from the nickname.
Well, anyway, the bad guy gets in the car.
Blind Danny was blind.
Takes it off. Didn't even know the kid was in there. About 6 blocks later, he goes, "Oh no!" And Danny says, "Just let me out. Just tell me the street corner. Just tell me the intersection. Just let me out. I know where I am." Just let him out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he was lost for 3 days.
Then they finally found him about 6 months later.
yeah. Good story.
Did you get a column out of that?
I did.
Yeah,
I got a column on it.
No, it was a hell of a column. I'm just poorly remembering it, apparently.
You know what happened to my column today? You
I don't
wanna hear
care.
this?
I don't care.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
you
tell
gotta
You got
hear.
another column where you buried the lead?
You got to hear about
I
this
did.
one.
No, here's what happened. I wrote about the Midway Snurdbirds.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
This amateur team up there in the middle of nowhere. So when they put it online yesterday afternoon, they put a summary on it. of what you're going to read down here.
Yeah.
A summary. I get the print edition this morning. The summary is the first paragraph of the story of the column. Makes no bleeping sense, and ruined my whole day. The only reason
Was it fixed now?
No, the only reason I got the Expedition League in there was to lead in. What you see in the first paragraph is basically repeated in the fourth paragraph.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
So I'm driving up University today, and I'm thinking about this and going, why is he so angry at this? And I was in a pretty calm, laid-back mood on my way until I got to University. Then I got stuck behind 3 different people who wouldn't close the gap in front of them because they were on their phone, right?
Yeah.
I finally make it up to Beam, where I'm taking a left turn. I'm sitting behind a Chrysler. Okay, we get a green light. The Chrysler turns left. He creeps over to the opening there, our driveway, to get into HBI. There's a pedestrian coming. The pedestrian stops to let the guy in the Chrysler pull in. The guy in the Chrysler sits there for about 5 seconds, decides to go straight. Okay, are you with me?
Yeah, got you so far.
He takes a left down the road to access our parking lot from the other area. I go in the normal area. As soon as I get to the guard shack, there's a spot right in front of me. I got the best spot in the lot.
Yep.
Who do I see circling the lot?
The guy in the Chrysler?
In a Chrysler.
Not
This
me.
guy-
I got a Buick.
This guy right here.
I got a Buick.
Whatever you were in,
Yeah.
you circled the lot once, and you pulled up into the very front of the lot,
Yes.
into the most opportune parking spot that some would say you need a pass to park at.
And did you look in the window?
And out popped Ricey.
Yes. Did you look
Hi,
at the window?
everybody, and he started holding court right away. Did you read my column this morning?
Yeah, complaining.
This guy.
They called him Blind Danny, huh?
Yeah.
Blind Danny, yeah. The guy who stole the car anyway, the way he screwed up was he parked the car and went into his apartment, apparently not realizing the 3-year-old was in there. So police found the car, and the 3-year-old asked the 3-year-old if they saw where the guy went. He pointed to the apartment building. Police went into the apartment.
So the kid didn't say anything.
Nope.
When-
Apparently
when he was
not.
being
Or
driven?
the guy ignored him. One of the
Yeah,
two.
well, the kid was probably had some little machine that he was playing with back then.
Fellas, we're outdoors, for the next 7 days?
Yeah.
So I want to read this one to you.
Yeah.
Popular sports radio host on 105.7 The Fan in Milwaukee, Bill Michaels, was hit by lightning while broadcasting his midday show.
What just happened to the guy in Eau Claire?
Did you see the forecast?
Is this the
tomorrow?
Eau Claire
This is
story?
the guy in Eau Claire, yeah.
80%
This is
chance of thunderstorms
the guy.
tomorrow, Such.
Yeah.
80%.
Oh, yeah, this is the guy in Eau Claire.
This is the guy in Eau Claire, yeah.
80.
Yeah, but
chance
we got a
tomorrow.
roof.
Okay.
Michaels had taken his show to the Wild Ridge and Mill Run Golf Course in Eau Claire, broadcasting outside when the thunderstorms rolled in.
This would be a good day then to bring one of those guys with those big steel pipes to come on the stage at the
So
field.
Eau Claire
Wacky
so a golf course in Eau Claire reached out all the way to Milwaukee to get somebody
Apparently,
to
yeah.
come in?
Yeah. The odds of him getting hit by lightning, 700,000 to 1. But he did.
He's okay, right?
He's fine, yes. He returned to the airwaves the next day.
Wow.
Where he detailed the whole incident.
Does he have a job for life now?
He's got some role with the Packers, which I think makes him almost
okay.
a statewide known guy. There.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
He's, music
By the way, the
news.
Big Ten increased the distance that they have to stop a game if there's a lightning strike.
Where are we
From
now?
8 miles to 10 miles.
10 miles.
If there's one 10 miles away, they got to shut her down for at least a half hour.
Wow.
Your feeling is we should take a vote.
Take a chance.
Take a vote.
About the end of the fairgrounds is me. If I'd say, what is it over there? Half a mile over there? I'd say if it's within a half a mile, maybe. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Let's take a vote.
how these things aren't coming from that far away. It doesn't happen.
A fellow responsible for one of the most famous guitar intros in rock and roll history has died.
Eddie Van Halen?
Ed King
Ed King,
Leonard Skinner?
another Leonard Skinner
died
guy.
at his Nashville home on Wednesday. He was 68 years old. He co-wrote and wrote the opening lick to Sweet Home Alabama, and that's also his voice. If you hear the album version, it goes 1, 2, 3, That's his voice and him playing the guitar. Like,
How's that go again?
Well, he's of the guys who were out traveling around again. He was one of the most senior guys.
Yes. Well, he has a history before Leonard Skinner too.
Yes.
Us old people will remember this. He was a member of the Strawberry Alarm Clock, known for their 1967 hit "Incense and Peppermints."
Right.
You remember
Yes.
Incense
Sure.
and Peppermints?
Incense and peppermints.
He's
Sounds
very big in the documentary. He's quoted liberally in the.
Is he the guy that says, "Turn it up"?
No, that's Van Zandt. That's Ronnie Van Zandt.
What got him?
That's a good question. Congestive heart failure, I believe I read earlier today. Yes, congestive heart failure.
He
Struggled with it.
He wasn't quite as bad a drug addict as the rest of them, although he'd take his share, I guess.
He was a big part of the band's three-guitar sound for the first three albums. Those are the ones everybody knows, pronounced Leonard Skinner's Second Helping. And he also is credited with co-writing classics like Saturday Night Special, working for MCA and Whiskey Rockarola. King stayed with Skinner till 75. He did reunite with them at the 1987 Volunteer Jam. He was inducted with them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006.
In the documentary, he says he just got sick. He thought it was childish that they had to break up every hotel room they stayed in, and he just was enough of that nonsense.
So he had some common sense? you're
Yes,
saying?
seemed to be a little more common sense than the rest of them.
How many hotel rooms do you have to break up before you get bored?
I don't know.
Wow.
Why don't you hold that thought, John?
Okay.
And we'll take a break and be back live at the State Fair. Just occurred to us. Yeah, about
Turn it up,
225 years of radio experience up here.
We got to tell him what Joe said during the break. don't
These
we?
two idiots. Jeez.
What'd we do?
You both are a bunch of old
Well,
fogies.
we want to take some classes. I want to take a handwriting
we're
class.
signing cups here, the Krabby Coffee
It
cup.
starts with, it's hard to write on a curved surface.
Yeah.
And he launches into this whole monologue about he can't write anymore.
No, I need to learn cursive again.
And-
And
the
I
first-
complained that my penmanship used to be good. Now
It's dreadful.
now
Same
it's
here.
not.
And when
And
Patrick
now
said
it's not good.
Patrick said that, Joe said, "I'm thinking of taking a penmanship class."
I'm thinking of getting a course.
And then
You
Sue,
gotta
and then
go find yourself a mean nun. She'd shape you up.
and then
man.
Royce,
wrap your head if you don't.
he
get it.
weighs in with, I'm going to take a class too, but I want to learn how to speak Spanish.
Yeah,
I want to
know.
know what those guys are saying about me. What the hell?
That's right.
Then I'll be there to write it for you.
I like salsa music, but I don't know what the hell they're saying.
Remember the story about the gal that went overboard earlier this week?
Yes,
Was it last week?
got mad at her boyfriend and took a dive.
She
Well,
crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
don't
story?
Don't be too sure.
Which
here.
story?
It was the woman who jumped off after the fight.
In Croatia?
No.
Off Croatia.
It was yes, off the Croatian
Because
coast.
there was
yes.
another one off Connecticut here. Remember yesterday you had it where
Yep.
the guy didn't know she was in the boat?
Didn't know she wasn't in the boat.
Didn't know she wasn't in the
Well,
boat?
yeah, in this case, we just found out now the ex-wife, not the gal that jumped off the ship, but the ex-wife
Yeah.
of the man who was arguing with his partner before
Yeah.
she jumped overboard. The ex-wife says now if she was on a ship with him, she would, quote, get off any way I could.
Oh, yeah.
The ex-wife. That's okay. So he can be a little argumentative. She's saying.
Apparently,
Huh?
yeah.
Did she go to Davy Jones's locker?
No, she's alive.
Oh.
Dog paddle for 10 hours and got rescued.
Yes.
Wow, he must have been a creep. Right. Holy cow. Let me out here. We're in the middle of the ocean.
But the guy
Let
that
me out.
the guy that didn't know his wife was missing, it wasn't Robert Wagner, was it?
I was waiting for that one.
Too soon.
Waiting for that
Too
one.
soon. It was 20 years
He
ago.
ain't going to get out of that, by the way. That's coming back to haunt him.
Well, he's 90 anyway.
40,
What's
wasn't he?
care?
That was 60, late 60s, wasn't it?
70s.
70s.
All right.
40 years.
Anyway, Kay Longstaff spent 10 hours in the sea after plunging from the 7th deck of the Norwegian Starship 60 miles off the Croatian coast last Saturday. She said she felt lucky to be alive after being rescued. Another passenger on board the liner says Ms. Longstaff was arguing a lot with her partner, Craig Raymond, the evening of the incident. Raymond's ex-wife, Kelly Raymond, now says, if I was on a ship with him, I'd get off any way I could too. Wow. She said they split after their volatile relationship fell apart. They are now in the process of getting a divorce.
Hey, Pat, I don't know if you caught this earlier. I don't know what time you got out here, but earlier today during Garage Logic, Joe was trying to set up Marjorie with Sydney.
Yeah.
Well, that would.
They're both available.
But that
Well,
would be.
you know, I think it'd be a perfect relationship because Sid couldn't hear her.
Hello?
She couldn't hear him either.
The constant banter.
There was a
wouldn't
lot
bother
of
him.
a lot of speculating backstage after you said that, and we were wondering if things got amorous, if
Oh, my.
things got hot, and then all of a sudden they both fell asleep and drooled all over each other.
Well, I don't know.
Marjorie's getting a little short.
She's
Where's the
a
party?
wonderful, wonderful human being.
Oh, she
And
is.
she won't let us tell her age.
I
But
figured out how to tell you.
she
Her
gave
age.
it away because she said the big one is next year.
Yep.
So that's how old she's older than Sid.
She was
And now
born
she-
the same year that Woodrow Wilson was in the 7th year of his presidency.
Wow.
Nobody here is going to look that up.
Well, that's how you can find out.
Hey,
She's 99.
Is she baking? Did she bake this year or not? Or
Yes, she
just-
had a fruit bar.
Really.
Did she win?
And then I,
Well, you
ribbons?
damn
and then I
near
said-
have to give it.
I said, "Did you win?" And she said, "What?"
And then she changed the subject to Joe's Mansion. Which was fun stuff.
Just
it
great.
was worth the $10 I gave her.
And she would not let him off. It was so fun.
I saw it in the paper.
Suppose you want me to read another story?
I
now?
wish you
Sure.
would, John.
After I read this story, you're probably going to wish I didn't read it, though.
Uh-oh.
Okay? A man in China had to be rescued after getting his finger stuck in a sex toy vending machine.
Okay.
I told you not to do these stories.
I didn't even know there was such a
I
machine.
didn't know that either. No, I didn't.
You mean
know
like at the steam shovel and you go down and grab it? Maybe they got him in the midway.
The man,
the claw.
Claw. Grab it and you put a dime
like
in.
the entry of Perkins.
the man known by the pseudonym of Zoo,
That's old Zoo, huh?
said he was trying to reach a product that he had paid for through a small hole when his hand got
Okay.
jammed.
Story of my life.
Zoo was trapped.
I'm seeing the steam shovel.
Zoo was trapped for 20 minutes or so before being freed. It took place near a clinic in the city of Zixi
How
in
convenient.
Zhejiang province, said Zhejiang Firefighting Department, which rescued Zhu. He claimed he had paid for the product with his cell phone, but it didn't drop in the vending machine's receiving slot. You know, it's supposed to fall down, then you reach in.
Yeah.
He said he called the machine customer service hotline,
Wow.
but the representatives weren't able to help.
I ordered a Big Joe and it won't come out.
I want my quarterback.
You know the
What if you're the call center representative at that 1-800 number?
you know the sex place on
boy.
Washington
Nope.
Avenue and 2nd Avenue?
Have no
I-
idea
actually,
what
I
you're
don't.
talking about.
There's a side entrance there, and
Oh, my God.
Not that I ever
Sure,
used,
no.
but when I used to be going to the morning show and I'd leave early and I'd want to kill some time,
Have some extra time.
I'd drive by to see if anybody I knew was walking in there. And one day I did see a local sports figure about 2:45 in the morning.
Where's the
going
party?
to the side door. It wasn't Sid.
Oh,
Anyway,
You still there?
Just think, though. Just think of all the things there are in life to do to spend extra time. What's Pat come up with? I know what I'm going to do.
I'm gonna drive.
I'm going to drive
there
by
and
that
see him.
sex world, see if I know anybody.
Yeah, right. And I
You can read a book.
It
you
paid
can,
off. I saw a former coach go in there.
some
It was
former
good.
coach.
taking a couple extra minutes of sleep.
It was
Nah.
fantastic.
Oh my God.
you could read an editorial.
This
Nope, I'm going downtown.
the firemen did get him out
Oh,
using
good.
a special polishing machine.
Oh, sure.
Oh, of
The
course.
story gets better and better, doesn't
Come
it?
on, John.
Wait, no, that's what he was buying. He was buying a special polishing machine.
He was freed after about a 15 minutes.
Some of these people have been here so long they remember when we used to be classy.
That's right.
Hey, guys,
remember
how are
that.
we going to get rid of this thing?
Oh, that's
we all
right,
signed
yeah.
a mug.
No,
It's-
somebody's gonna ask George a question next hour.
So we're going to give it
Yes,
away.
somebody's gonna ask George a good
All right,
question.
we all signed this
We
mug.
all signed a cup.
Earlier, I was asking people to bid on it. I figured we'd
Didn't
take
work.
the highest bidder. Lawyers called.
No,
and,
we can't.
no,
do that.
lawyers
No.
called.
That's not going to happen.
I'm shocked. Joe, do you want another story?
No, that's good.
No, the
See you
hell.
later. John. That's
Are we
enough.
done?
Yeah, we're done.
Ah, we'll see.
We'll
you.
be done.
Final segment here of Sports Talk live at the Minnesota State Fair. And Patrick, I need to make mention of something very quickly, sir.
All right.
So we had the former closer here, talking about his great new beer, and the mayor sent loyal listener Big John on a run and didn't buy the closer's beer.
Oh, really?
He bought it to Shoots.
Well, I'm not sure he knew where the ballpark cafe was.
Oh, okay.
Where is it, by the way?
It's straight back over here. You got to go past the Star Tribune building, and
Oh, yeah.
it's over there.
Oh,
All right.
well, okay, bought some other beer. Yeah. Well, that stuff happens. What the heck?
And I just introduced him to Perk, too. I bet he's a little crestfallen.
Hey, we have the George Shire Experience kicking off the State Fair today. We got a cup here for somebody who asked George a great AWA question. I also have a bunch of questions I took on Twitter. And if you're out there in the vast listening audience, call. What's that number again?
651-646-8255.
George's questions coming up.
I have something you should ask George.
Okay.
I'll write the name down for you.
Okay.
The Smashing Pumpkins were just here.
Yes.
Their lead is Billy Corgan.
Corgan. Okay.
Corgan.
He was a wrestler?
No, it is rumored that he took the Smashing Pumpkins back out on the road because he needs money because he just bought, and that's what George will know, either the World Wrestling Alliance. He bought the entire league.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And George knows all things
George,
wrestling.
He knows all things AWA.
Well, he might
we'll
know
see.
about this.
Okay.
And so you ask him that. 1500 ESPN is KSTP St. Paul, Minneapolis. What a wonderful first day of the State Fair.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. It's crazy to think that a few weeks ago we were talking about whether or not Tua Tagovailoa should consider retiring after 2 concussions and worldwide debates on player safety and NFL culpability. Tua has done nothing but go back to work and currently has the Dolphins riding a 3-game win streak and 1 loss behind the division favorite Buffalo Bills. While everyone was yapping about the end of his career, Tua Tagovailoa said he'll decide when it's time. And clearly, he's not ready to hang up the cleats. Hi, this is Chris Howard from the Plugged In with Chris Howard podcast. BetOnline.net is your #1 source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting, up-to-the-minute scores for the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including the MLB playoffs, the start of the NHL season, MMA, boxing, and golf. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.